So what does this all mean for the future of RIM? Bloomberg contributing editor Paul Kedrosky is back with us now from San Diego. So, Paul, if you were Thorsten Heinz, what would you do right now?
He's really only got one legitimate choice. I mean, to be totally pragmatic, this is a company now that really has to be auctioned off to whoever you can put together a process to get them interested. And it's not obvious anymore, even less obvious than it was a year ago, who those potential acquirers are. A business turnaround, a sell-off of some of the company's assets, deals for handsets, maybe trying to do something at the core of the security infrastructure or further licensing of the operating system. Almost all of these options are entirely now foreclosed for the company, just not necessarily because of the internal problems at the company, but just the passage of time. People have made choices to Android, iOS, and others, both as licensees and direct purchasers, and so the options sort of portfolio for RIM has been foreclosed accordingly over the last 12 months, and so that really genuinely leaves them those two polar options. They turn the entire business around, which would be unprecedented and almost impossible to imagine at this point, or there's a process in place to actually do some form of acquisition of the major assets of the company.
Right. So maybe it's not obvious right now, but if you were Thorsten, what companies would you be reaching out to? What companies might reach out to RIM?
I had someone suggest today the ideal situation would be if you could get HP and Yahoo in a bidding war, right? I mean, who else? Who else was going to acquire this thing? It's got to be those guys. So no, so it's going to have to be someone from the list that we've sort of go through. I mean, I suppose HP would be an option, but more likely the one that we talk about the most is Microsoft. But it's not obvious why Microsoft would be an acquirer as a business. So take it down a step lower, and this is really the floor on the stock, is if it's for patents, right? Because the company has an extensive portfolio of IP and broadly in wireless devices and wireless technologies, and that's become something that in this recent sort of, crush of sort of arms races over patents has been something that people want to acquire. So the question is what's RIM's portfolio worth? It's worth whatever people will pay for it, but a reasonable guess based on comparables is it might be worth something like half of current market capitalization. So it's very hard to justify the current price on the basis of a bidding war over its patent portfolio. But that's the real floor on the stock. And my own guess is that's where we end up. That in large part, whatever an acquirer eventually says, this will be a company that's purchased for its patents.
Yeah, there are people out there who are bullish on RIM right now. The stock actually jumped 9% today. It's down 70% over the course of the year. But could this be the time to buy RIM?
Well, you have to be a believer that someone's going to either A, pay a price that's not supported by the business, that's the HP Yahoo bidding war idea, I suppose, or you have to believe that there's people who are going to see much more value in the patent portfolio than has been seen in any other recent auction of wireless-related patents over the last 18 months, which strikes me as equally implausible. So if you reject both of those ideas, then the real reason why, and again, it's risky to attribute any thinking to what a stock does on a daily basis, but probably what happened here was just relief that the company finally acknowledged that it does have to open itself up to, strategic alternatives, i.e. someone buying it or big pieces of it, and that led to this little bounce in the stock we saw today. But this doesn't end, it's just the very beginning of that process, and then finding a floor for which people would pay that price is really dictated by the patent portfolio, which is considerably lower value than the current market capitalization.
And Heinz said he would consider a sale, but that is not, quote, the main direction. Paul Kedrosky says it's the only direction. We shall see. Thanks so much, Paul, again, for joining us.